When we're under stress, those around us can be seen as opposition. Because when we're under stress, we want relief. And the people around us, even our loved ones, they can either provide for that relief or they can become obstacles to that relief. And if they're obstacles, then they oppose us and then they have to be dealt with one way or another. They have to be gotten out of the way. My wife, Christy, and I, we were moving a bookshelf from the upstairs to the downstairs a while back. I think we were giving it away. And we got about halfway down the staircase and realized things were getting a little bit dicey. It started to feel a little dangerous. I had made the announcement that the bookshelf had become very awkward. By the way, generally speaking, if a man refers to the furniture that he's moving as awkward, he means heavy. We just never say heavy. So it was awkward. It was heavy. And it started to seem like maybe we were going to be going down the steps more in a tumble rather than something more calculated that we had hoped. And so we had to stop and sort of adjust. And it was a stressful moment because it wasn't entirely clear that either of us understood the other. And I believe that we both thought that our angle on this one common moment was the most difficult. Christy was on the top end sort of navigating, and so I thought, well, your job isn't very hard, but she was insisting I've got nothing to hold on to carry any weight. There's nothing to curl my fingers around, and this glass cabinet keeps opening. Well, I was at the bottom walking backward carrying most of the weight, but she was saying, well, you've got something to hold on to, though. There's a ridge around the bottom you can really hold on to. And I was saying, yeah, but this drawer it keeps opening. It's going to catch on something. It's going to kill us all. It wasn't entirely clear that we were listening to each other. And so we not only had to reset where we were holding on to this bookshelf, we sort of had to reset our minds to go from this oppositional energy that we were using with one another, that each of us had personal goals and the other person wasn't listening and wasn't helping. We had to go from that mental space to more of a teammate space, moving more into a space where it would be better described as a dance. And I think that the metaphors of dance, I'm really not a very good dancer, but the metaphors of dance are just as good, if not better, to appeal to when we talk about trying to work things out when we're stressed. We seem to have a habit of using war metaphors and oppositional metaphors. We talk about debate and battle and beating people and winning. And so, if we're using oppositional metaphors, or if we're even thinking in terms of war, we're thinking in terms of there has to be a winner and a loser. Someone has to conquer somebody else, and it doesn't have to be physically. It can just be the tone that you're using. It can be condescension. There's a winner and there's a loser, and of course, I want to be the winner if this is going to be a war. But the metaphors of dance, you still have the same issues and the same stressors, but what you're immediately doing by appealing to the metaphors of dance for yourself and in your communication is saying, we're going to do this uniquely, but unified. We will be doing different things. We will have different angles on this same experience, but we'll be unified as though listening to one song. Because if you think about dance partners, you can have one person moving forward and the other person moving backward, and it looks very similar, but those are very different ways of moving across the floor. They're unique, but they're united by the same song. Stress generally tells us it's time to go to war or someone is declaring war. Don't lose. But if you can think about in terms of, I didn't commit to winning when I committed myself to my partner, to my spouse. I committed to love this person. And part of loving this person is listening and considering their perspective, their take, and their angle on the same moment. And so when you move out of war and oppositional spaces back into listening and loving and trying to understand, you're moving from something that has a winner or a loser and more into something that's more beautiful and it's more artistic. When when stress tries to get you to go to war, love will remind you to work together and consider yourself partners, dance partners, or just partners trying together to get the bookshelf to the bottom of the staircase and still loving each other, regardless of what it is. It's good to remind ourselves that there are so many ways of having the exact same experience. And when we remember that, we will be remembering in a very practical way to love.